Hey guys, Metasploit here, back again with another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at Metasploit, alright? Now, this is going to be the complete Metasploit course, and this is going to take you from, guys, an advanced user of the Metasploit framework, alright? Now, as I said, this is going to be an advanced course, and it's going to take you beginner to advanced. So that is the goal of the course. And I'm going to try and cover it within 1 week. So I'm going to, make the videos and I'm going to upload them, and hopefully you guys like the format in which I'll be uploading them. So I'm not going to waste time on one series. I'm going to complete it and then we'll move on to the next one. Right. So I've made a lot of videos about Metasploit, but I realized that I really didn't cover the basics and how to navigate around this. And for most of the beginners, you really don't understand. Some of you guys did not understand the format and the way Metasploit worked. All right, so let's get started. So this is going to be part 1, and we're going to be looking at all the basics to get started with. Right? Okay, so for those of you already asking what operating system I'm using ParrotOS for this demonstration. I just seem to really enjoy the latest update, and I've been using it as my daily driver on my laptop. As you can see, I'm recording this on my laptop. So yeah, let's get started. So what is Metasploit? All right, so Metasploit essentially is it's the leading exploitation framework. All right, so it is used by nearly every penetration tester or ethical hacker, or hacker for that matter. And it is really important that you master it for you to to enter this field, right? Or to to prosper in this field. Now, it was developed by Rapid7. All right. So Rapid7 is a company that owns these different vulnerability scanners like Nexpose, and it again, as I've said, it owns Metasploit. All right. Now, looking at the Metasploit interfaces, we've already looked at some throughout the channel, and one of them is the MSF console. All right, so these are the multiple Metasploit interfaces. So we have MSF console, we have Armitage. All right, so Armitage is simply put a GUI framework that allows you to use the Metasploit framework. The MSF console it gives you an interactive command line like interface that allows you to also use the framework, which is what we're going to be looking at because it's the easiest to set up. You then have the MSF CLI, which is going to be a very literal Linux command line interface that also allows you to use the Metasploit framework. You then have finally the MSF Web, which is the browser-based interface, which is what we looked at, where we set up the community version and we were able to scan for our targets and find the vulnerabilities, right? So as I said, we're going to be focusing on MSF console. Now, the first thing to understand is that Metasploit, as we've looked at in previous videos, I really didn't show you how to set it up correctly and how to make it faster, because most of you realized it. And a lot of you guys raised that question, do I need to start any services? Yes, you do need to start the services, all right? Now, you need to start the PostgreSQL database service, which does come with the major penetration testing distributions. So if you're running this on a normal Linux distribution, I recommend that you switch to a penetration testing distribution because these tools will be already pre-installed. Right? So you don't need to run this on your main computer like I am. You can also run it in a virtualized environment. Moving along. So we have to start the PostgreSQL database. All right. So what this will do is it will allow Metasploit to run faster searches, and that will allow Metasploit to store the information while you are performing the scanning and or exploitation. All right. So I'm going to open up my terminal here, and what I'm going to do is let me just try and zoom this in. So I should have done that before I started the video, but you know what? We're just going to run this through the Parrot terminal because I don't want to confuse you guys. Right, so let me just zoom that in so we can have a good view of what's going on. All right, so it's very simple to start your PostgreSQL service, as you know with Linux. So it's service post, very simple, Postgres. Whoops, my bad. Sorry about that. Whoops, there we are. All right, so service post Please forgive my typing. I'm on a laptop right now. PostgreSQL. All right, and we can start. Whoops, my bad again. All right, and you want to start the service now, and it's going to ask you for your root password, so make sure you enter that. And once the service is started, we can then move on to use the MSF console, all right, which is the command line interface. So again, start it up. So MSF console, and you'll see that it will load much faster than when if you didn't start up the PostgreSQL database. All right, so just give the first run a bit of time, because again, it's building the database, and it should load up immediately, right? So as you can see, it's starting the Metasploit framework console, and give that a few seconds as always. Now, one thing I want to just tell you, and a lot of you guys have been asking me, is what are the system requirements, you know, if you want to become a penetration tester? The truth is, the thing that you'll need the most is going to be RAM. Now, the minimum I would recommend, 2 GB works fine, but if you're going to be running a lot of penetration tests, I would recommend that you get a minimum of 4 GB of RAM, and then you can possibly upgrade to 8, and the ideal one would be 8 to 12. All right. So again, you also want to make sure that your processor can match that. So I would recommend, you know, an i5 or an i3 processor, a good one, quad core, hopefully, depending on, you know, on what you can afford. It really doesn't matter, but if you want some great efficiency, I recommend you get a computer with some good RAM. All right, so once it starts up, it's really very simple, and we've gone through this before. Now, if you're wondering what are the other ways of launching it, what you can do is go to your, you know, in Kali Linux, it's simply your menu. In Parrot OS, they lie in the same category. They lie in exploitation tools. All right. So once you open exploitation tools, you can see that the Metasploit framework exists, and it gives you the various options that you can use. You have Armitage, the Metasploit framework, and you can update it. And this is another way of accessing it if you don't want to go through it through the terminal. All right. Now let's look at the Metasploit keywords that are very important. Now this is something that I did not fully cover, so I'm going to do it right now. Now, Metasploit has 6 types of modules. We use mostly 4 of them the most, all right? But I'm going to explain them to you. So the first thing we have is exploits, all right? It has exploits, it has payloads, it has the auxiliary, it has NOPs, it has post, and it has encoders, all right? Now, let me explain what they are very simply and very quickly. Now, an exploit is a module that will take advantage of a system. All right. So it'll take advantage of a system's vulnerability. All right. So it's not going to, you know, just take advantage of a system that is patched or does not have any vulnerability. It needs to have a vulnerability. All right. And then it will install a payload on the system. All right. Now the payload can either be a reverse shell or a metapreter. All right. So it'll give you access to that computer in form of the payload. Now, you know, usually with other systems or in other environments, you would usually call these payloads things like rootkits and stuff like that. But for now, just understand that the payload is what the exploit will try and plant on the system. All right, so that will give you that access to the system, obviously through an exploit, through a vulnerability that is then exploited. All right, so hope that's simple. Now, once I've explained that, now let's look at some of the basic commands. Now, one of the best commands that, you know, you can use is the help command. And if I open up that up right now, you can see that, there we are. If you open this up, it'll give you all the help commands or the commands that are very important for you. And again, this is very useful because it will give you the ability to, at any time, you know, refer to this documentation. So if you're lost, this can be a very good way of using or of getting guidance using this framework. So you can go through this if you're feeling a bit lost. All right. So that's the help command. Very important. And you'll find yourself using this quite a lot. Right. All right. Now let's look at the other commands. Now, one of the most useful ones is the use command, because the use command will allow you to load a module. All right, so for example, we can load many modules here, and one of the most, the most common ones that you can start to load is the let's see, one that comes straight off my head, off the back of my head. It is the I think I remember this one. This was quite an old exploit, and it allows us to exploit the Adobe Flash. I think it's the plugin. Yeah, the Adobe Flash plugin. All right, so let me try see if I remember. So use exploit. So you use the use command. It allows you to use a module. So then you give the module name. All right, so use exploit, and then it was Windows. All right, so it is a Windows, and then browser. Right, and was it Flash? Whoops. Let me just bring that into context here, like so. I think I already clicked on it. I'm really sorry about that. So let me just close that up. There we are. So use, sorry about that, I launched it by mistake. So let me remember, use exploit, Windows, right? Windows, was it Windows browser? I'm not sure if it is the correct one. Use Windows browser, and it is the Adobe, Adobe Flash AVM2, I believe was the vulnerability, underscore, my bad, AVM2. All right, use exploit Adobe AVM2. Let's see if that's the correct one. There we are. All right, so that is the exploit. So I'm glad I remember it. All right, so that is also a very useful one, but I do believe it is patched by now. All right, so now Metasploit has successfully loaded the module. Now, one thing to understand is if it loads the module correctly, it will display the module name in red. All right, so that's something you can take home. Now, since it's become red, we know that we can use it. Now, the best command to use now in this case is the show command, and the show command will allow you to, it'll basically give you information on the module. All right, so if I say show, there we are, it's going to give us some information. Now, it may seem overwhelming, but really don't worry. So it's going to give you some information, and you really don't need to worry about what it's telling me, because I'm using the Flash Player exploit, and all of this may seem like nonsense to you, but we'll get to how to use the correct modules. All right, so as you can see, it's given me some options, and very nicely there, these are the it's given us information about the exploit or the module, right? So now what we can do is we've already shown what exists, the information that exists. Now we can show options. All right, so the options will show us the options that we can change about the module. All right, so it'll give us it'll give us options that we can change. So if I say show options, there we are, it's going to say now these are things that you can customize depending on how and the method of exploitation. All right, so you have the server host, you have the local machine, the server port, whether it has a SSL, the SSL certificate. You can change all of these options. All right, now the other options that we have is the payloads. So show payloads. All right, once we show the payloads, just give it a few seconds. It's going to take a few seconds, obviously. All right, so give it a few seconds, and it should load up really anytime now. Again, please bear with me, guys. I'm running this on a laptop. There we are. All right, so these are all the payloads that you can load. Now these, as we have looked at in previous videos with Metasploit, give us different ways of approaching an attack. All right, so it will give you it'll give you all the payloads that are compatible with this exploit. All right, now if we look at the other options, so we will be looking at all of this. If we look at the other options, we have the show targets. All right, so show targets will show you the targets that you can change, which in this case is just we have not set anything. All right, now the targets, it's going to display the targets that you're trying to target. And the thing is, with different exploits, you can have a lot of different targets. You can specify many targets. All right, and it's really important that you get this right. Now, some other commands that we can use, that can describe, that can give us information about the module or the exploit that we're using, is the show info. All right, the show info will give you information about it'll give you information about the exploit. All right, so as you can see here, this module exploits a vulnerability found in the ActiveX component of the Adobe Flash Player before 12.0.0.43. all right, so again, it's for a specific version and will not work on the latest one. We already knew that, right? That's the trick. Now, there's a lot of other commands that you can look at, and one of them is the MSF search. All right, so you can use the search command, and the search command will give you the ability to search and find the module that you need. All right, now Metasploit has a lot of modules, and finding the right one is probably the the most important thing, and it can be the most time consuming. So you need to learn how to use the search command. All right, now with the search command, it comes with some very, very important keywords. The search command comes with the keywords like the platform. All right, so this is to target or to search for the platform specifically. You then have the type. All right, this will give you the type of module, for example, exploits, payloads, as we already discussed. You then have the name, and this is if you're searching for a specific name. Right, so we can do this very, very nicely right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna Control C. Whoops, let me just exit this. All right, so I'm going to start the MSF console again just to show you how this would work. All right, so I'm going to start that up again, and let's just give it a few seconds, and I'm going to show you how to do this. All right, so as I said, using the search command allows you to search for exploits, so that's great. And then we'll be looking at the other ones, right? So let it start up. Really, really sorry about the slow startup times. Again, just bear with me. It should start up. There we are. All right, so as I was saying, the most important one is the search, right? So if we search, it's very simple. So search, type, all right? So that's the keyword type. The type is going to be an exploit. We're going to search for the same one. So type exploit, it is an exploit. The platform was Windows. The platform was Windows and Flash, all right? So if we search for that, whoops, my bad. Pardon me, guys. My typing today is... There we are. All right, and it's going to give us all of these options. Now, the correct one that we want is probably the first one. It's going to lie up here, and there's a lot of them that you can use or that we can use. Some of them they're sorted with their date, and this allows you to specify or to get one that works. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we need to set. All right. Now, when I'm saying set, that allows you to set a specific. It allows you to set the specific payload or the exploit that you're trying to use. In this case, we can, you can just use the first one because I don't want to go through all of these ones. There's a lot that you can use over here. And as you can see, this is the one that we were using previously, the exploit, the AVM2. It's a very, very popular one at some given time. So we're going to say set. All right. And I'm just going to paste that in there. There we are. And set option. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Apologies. All right. So we have to use the use and and I'm going to paste that in there. Use. There we are. So that's the module that we were using. And then we use the set to set the options. So we can say show options like so, and we have the options here. And then to set the specific options, what you just do is you use things like, let's say if you wanted to set the server port. So usually this would be set SRV server port, right? And we'll set that to 80, right? And that will set it to 80. We can then say set other things like, we can set a lot of other stuff. And once you're all set, so let's say we could say, set the server host to something like, set the server host, then that's going to be the host IP. So SRV host, all right, to something like 192.168.0.1. Of course, this doesn't make any sense because I'm not really targeting a system. And you will also set, and then if you say show options again, as you can see, it's going to show you the options that you did set, which we set were the server host and the server port. And once you're ready to exploit, once you've set all the options, all you have to do is just hit exploit, and it will exploit it perfectly, right? So let's try that right now. And of course, it's not going to give us anything, right? Because we've not done anything. So if I hit exploit, it's going to hit exploit, and it's probably not going to return anything important here, right? So just give it a few seconds, right? Again, as you can see, it's not displaying anything because there we are. All right, so it did start a reverse TCP handler on a specific, on this IP using the port 44444. All right, but we're not going to get anything out of that really right now. I'm pretty sure of that, right? All right, so once that's done, once you're done exploiting, or in this case, as you can see, we have not really exploited anything. We can just, let me just close this. There we are, and we're done. Now, the last commands that I want to show you are the exit or the back command, which takes you a step back, and you can use the exit command to exit the Metasploit or the MSF console framework. All right. And these are, or that is all the basics that I needed to cover in the first video. Now in the next video, we're going to be looking at some really advanced stuff. So we're going to be looking at the module types. We'll be looking at performing reconnaissance, the Armitage GUI, and we'll be looking at exploiting some Windows systems. And then finally, we'll be building our own custom payloads with the MSF Venom framework or interface. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you found value in this video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on my social networks. For the documented article or the documented version of this video, check out my website, hsploit.com. Link will be in the description, and you can also get this on my application. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.